I'm Deborah Pegay, and I'm a member of the Board of Directors of World Vision USA. I am just so delighted to see all of you here tonight because God is so good to all of us, and I know that many of you have come to hear what we do. And today was such an eventful and emotional day. I think most of us were just fighting back tears or literally crying when we heard the stories. But I'm just glad you're here. I'm impressed with all the technology. When we came in and registered, they gave us a little thumb drive that has all of the conference materials on it. And I was reminded of a story of a company that wasn't so blessed technologically as World Vision is. And they were doing a password audit in this company. And they came to this receptionist desk, very attractive woman, okay, a little ditzy. But they said, what's your password? And this is what her password was. Minnie, Mickey, Pluto, Huey, Louie, Dewey, Donald, Goofy, Sacramento. That was her password. And they said, now why is that password so long? She said, hello, I'm just following instructions. They said it had to be 8 characters and 1 capital. Now, Rich Stearns would never hire anybody with that kind of a mindset because this man is known to pick the very best people, and I'm just delighted to be part of that team. I joined the World Vision Board right after I had had brain surgery, and there were times that the condition was so painful it rendered me speechless. And it's nothing like a medical event to cause you to start to wonder, what is my place in life and what am I supposed to be doing? And that was a very painful time for me. Now, my husband declares that the fact that I couldn't talk was more painful than the condition, but it was a painful time. And I met with Rich Stearns, and we had about a 3-hour dinner meeting. And he told me about his story of how the struggle he had to release that dream job in his dream house. And it was just so touching to me. And I told him this. I said, you're going to write a book about this, and it's going to be a bestseller. Well, he just dismissed me since I'm not an official prophetess or anything. But it did turn out to be that way. And I thought, this guy, the hole in the gospel, and I thought, this guy can really write it. In the back of my mind, I said, maybe one day we'll write a book together. I'm an author, too. I'm not as humble as Rich. I'm a best-selling author. And so if you want to look me up, my book is called 30 Days to Taming Your Tongue. Okay, that's not in the notes. All righty. But what I didn't like about it, when Rich wrote the book, I thought, this is going to really make up for the fact that he gave up so much money, so much whatever, to come here, and the royalties from this book would make up for it. He wouldn't hear of it, and neither would the board. Now, we love him, but we don't spoil him, so I thought, I don't want to write a book with him, because World Vision, I get all of my royalties, all right? Well, tonight, though, we're announcing a new book, Unfinished. And it's out today, and it has been my joy to go through this book. It really could be called The Next Level Living, because in this book, he starts with the fact that believing is only the beginning. And I love that. I love the fact that he talks about Renee, and I wrote some things out of the book I wanted you to remember. He talks about the fact that we all have developed these spiritual disciplines, the praying, the fasting, whatever it is that we do that make ourselves feel good about our relationship with God. But deep down inside, we know that there is another level. And in this book, he challenges us to align our lives with the specific role that God has called us to. And then he doesn't leave us wondering. It's very practical. As I was looking through the end of the book today, he must have listed 35 or 40 things you can actually do. So you'll not want to miss that part. This book is going to be, it's available today. And you're going to all go home with a copy of it tonight. That's right. And we know you're going to order, a lot of you, if those of you who will be putting in bulk orders, there's a card in here to tell you how to do that. Now, this is very important because we want to make sure this book gets maximum exposure. And there's a card in the back that tells you how to order from Amazon.com or Barnes & Noble. Now, let me tell you this as an author. You want to get your bulk orders from Barnes & Noble because they would count each order as the number of units that you order now. Amazon doesn't do that. They just count an order as one. So that's a freebie that I want to pass on to you. I was so proud last night when Rich announced that we had already reached about $378 million in this $500 million target. And the fact that it had come from just private pledges. And now the public part of the campaign is being introduced. And that's the part I get excited about because I don't have many millionaire friends. Okay, I got like 2. And But nobody wanted to come to the conference, and I didn't invite them, so that's probably why they didn't want to come. But 2 years ago, when I turned 60, we were in the middle of this campaign, and I said, I want to do something different to be a part of this. And so I told everybody, now I'm just disappointed in your response. When I said 2 years ago when I turned 60, I was hoping to hear this giant, and you looked at me like, Ann. So, anyway, when I turned 60, I asked the people, I said, listen. Okay, great. Very good, you get an A. I said, listen, instead of bringing me a present, why don't you just make a check payable to World Vision? And they did. It was so rewarding. I tell you, you can't beat God giving, and there's nothing more fulfilling than to know that you're changing a life. Because that technologically smart staff of World Vision, they actually, I told them where I wanted the money to go, to the economic development section, because we had gone to Zambia last year and saw how much people could do with just a little bit. And so we had met a woman who looked like me, and I'm so impressed with Rich Stearns that he makes these sacrifices and traveling to all these countries, really getting his hands dirty with people who don't look like him, and I think that is just something to be applauded. It really is. But I asked them to make those checks payable to World Vision, and then the staff, online, they showed me where the money had been used, and it was so rewarding to know that that little money, it was under $4,000 altogether, had actually impacted over 10 families and several children. And just to know that that kind of creativity can go forth, and I say this tonight, this public part of this campaign, you're going to hear some wonderful stories in the coming years about the creativity that people had just to get other people to buy into the program. Well, that's what I want to say about the book and what World Vision is doing. And now I want to introduce Rich Stearns. He doesn't need an introduction. But I want to tell you something. When I was thinking about Rich, I found him all summed up in one scripture. And that was in Micah 6:8. And this is what it says. He has shown you, O man, what is good. What does the Lord require of you? And it lists three things: to do justly, to love mercy, and to walk humbly with your God. That's Rich Stearns, right there. Right there, that's Rich Stearns. To do justly, doing the right thing. To love mercy. He loves extending that kind of kindness to others. And to walk humbly. But I can't talk about Rich walking humbly without talking about Renee. Because Renee sits there like she's just some little cute arm piece sometimes and supports him. But the woman is an Ivy League trained lawyer. And I just love that she knows how to support her man. And I try to take my cues from that. And so, Renee, I like what Rich wrote in the book about you. He said he wanted to thank you for serving as his spiritual anchor over the years. And he went on to say that it was your deep faith and your integrity and your commitment to Christ that led him to faith as a young man, but also has helped to sustain him over the years. You see, Renee, it hadn't been for you, he'd be some heathen out there pursuing the wrong course, and we know that. But he's not. I think we ought to give Renee a special applause. Amen. I think we should. She deserves it. She deserves it. And finally, I do want Rich to come up. I want to present to you, ladies and gentlemen, but I'm going to ask you to stand. Not that we're trying to honor him. It's because you've been sitting a long time and a certain part of your body needs a rest right now. So I just want you to stand in honor of that. And I want to present to you the author of The Hole in the Gospel, and now the sequel, Unfinished, our president, Rich Stearns.
Now, after all the nice things she said about me, I hate to raise this issue, but does anybody see any irony in the fact that her best-selling book was called 30 Days to Taming Your Tongue? You know, her husband Darnell said that he didn't think she'd ever read the book. No, that's not true. I got Darnell in trouble now. He didn't say that. He didn't say that. Thank you, Deborah. You can imagine how much fun World Vision board meetings are with Deborah at the table. So it's been great to have her serve with us all these years. In a minute, I'm going to introduce a video that I want us all to watch tonight. And it comes out of a trip. A group of us, some of you here tonight, took a trip to Honduras in January, one of our campaign countries, to see the work that was being done as a result of our campaign. And we got to see some amazing work, and all of you who have taken a trip like that have felt the same experience. We met some extraordinary people, but I think all of us who were on the trip, the thing we were most struck with, the thing most memorable about the trip was the way in which the children in the communities that World Vision had been working in were demonstrating not just their involvement in their own community, but actually real leadership. Children that were really involved in leadership kinds of roles in their community. They were, as we like to say, cared for, protected, and participating in their communities. And it was really quite inspiring to meet these kids. They were confident, they were poised, they were articulate, they were engaged, and they were spiritually grounded, these kids. I mean, it gave you such great hope for the future. And the adults in the community were not just proud of their children, they were actually listening to their children, listening to the input and the ideas of their children in the community. And I think we all realized on that trip an important truth, that the children we met who had benefited from World Vision's leadership development programs and training programs in that community and the education they had gotten were going to become key agents of change for the future. And I realized that the children who are 10 years old when World Vision comes into a community are going to be in their mid-20s when World Vision leaves that community. So it's possible that in one generation we can literally change a community by impacting the children and giving them a different vision for the future. Now, we work with their parents as well, but that generational change can be so critical, and it allows you to accelerate the change in a community because these kids grow up thinking about different possibilities and different ideas, because that's what we encourage in our leadership development, youth development programs, which, you know, when I first started at World Vision, I thought, oh, that's nice to do leadership development programs, but we're really here to help these kids. And I've come full circle over the years to realize that it's the kids who are the secret. They're the keys to the change for the future. It's not just about helping kids. It's about empowering kids and preparing them to become the next generation of adults who will lead in their communities. Because they're going to be mothers and fathers and farmers and teachers, and they're going to be the leaders of their community down the road. Now, I want you to meet through this video just one of these remarkable kids. Actually, Coach Rick mentioned him this morning and said that he had met a young man in Honduras that he was so impressed with, and we met the same young boy on the trip. His name is Selvin, and he is 12 years old. And we wanted to shoot a video so you'd get just a sense. And Selvin was one of dozens of kids that were like him. They were impressive, they were engaged, they were participating in the community. So let's take a look at the video.
My name is Selvin Francisco Garcia Antonio. I am 12 years old. Life here in my community is very harsh. Often I see children that walk by and I know they're going to work. My mother started working before I was born. Because of work, she would leave home very early and come home very, very late. I'm the protector for my little brother. Yes, I've been through very difficult things. Things that have hurt me. When my grandmother passed away, I felt bad. I'm not going to have her with me anymore. I'm never going to see her again. When my grandpa passed away, I said, no, another loss. When my father passed away, I said again, another loss. But later, with World Vision, when I learned, I got closer to God, thanks to them. So I said, now they're in heaven with God. From the day my grandpa got sick, I said, I'm going to get my act together. I'm going to study. I'm going to be an important person in life. And that's why I want to be a doctor. I'm going to help people who have suffered. I'm going to help people that have problems. I'm going to make myself study. Maybe in one of the books I can find what my grandpa had and if there's a cure. That's what he would have wanted. This model represents Jamaranguila before World Vision arrived. Before taking the training, I did participate, but generally I would keep to myself. I did not like to speak in front of people. If I had an opinion, I did not speak it. So when World Vision came, all this changed. But before, all that was here were houses made of straw. I can give my opinion. I can be a great leader. If I say this, it can be done. Because children are the present and the future. So I've learned a lot of things, thanks to World Vision. All this is what World Vision has done for Jamaranguila. And not just for Jamaranguila, but also around the world. Our Jamaranguila has changed. It's not the same. It's a stronger Jamaranguila, a better one. So what I do with a group of children, or sometimes by myself, is go to other people and teach them about hygiene.
I think that seeing him work gives us all an example, even the ADP workers. He is a child that is very attentive of everything that we can teach him. He replicates and makes it effective in the community and at school.
The stickers are a little water drop. That little water drop represents that they have completed one of the 4 topics that we have.
No, ese niño es bien.
The boy is, well, in the neighborhood. It really helps us. He's important.
With World Vision, I have participated in a lot of events and trainings. Events about healthy homes and schools. About tutoring. I'm a tutor. I'll be a tutor for life. My grandpa was a father to me because he raised me, so I really thank God for having him. Maybe I didn't get to know my dad, but I know he loved me a lot. I think they're proud. I would like for them to be here so they can live all of this with me, but unfortunately, they're not with me. Even with that, I know that they're watching me and saying, that is my grandson. That is my son. And it will be with him always. I wanted to help World Vision as well, because we receive aid and sponsors for kids.
How are you?
If I do it well, there's the possibility of them helping other children, giving the resources to World Vision Honduras so they can distribute to the children with the most need. For example, the sponsor sends the seed, World Vision is the farmer who plants it, and that yields fruit. I am the fruit of that seed, and thanks to World Vision who planted that seed, it has awoken the fruit inside of me. I know that there are other children who have also been awakened, and are that fruit as well.
Whenever I meet a young boy like Selvin, who is so impressive, I find myself wishing, what if they could come and I could introduce them to all of our supporters all across the United States. It would be such an encouragement to those who sponsor children or make gifts to World Vision to know that the work we're doing in communities like this one in Honduras are changing the lives of young people and raising up a whole new generation of leaders. You get a glimpse of the kinds of young leaders who are coming up. And each one of these kids is facing the challenges of their situation, the the brokenness that comes from poverty. In Selvin's case, the loss of both his father and his grandfather and his grandmother. A lot of losses to endure at such a young age. And we wanted to show you this video because not all of you could be there, and a video is really not a perfect way to introduce you to someone. So we decided we'd bring Selvin here to meet you. So Selvin, would you come up and say hello to the folks here? How you doing? I couldn't resist when I was so excited to meet Selvin and a number of his peers, and so I said to the team down there, is there any way we could bring Selvin to Chicago? And of course we had to get permission and visas and all of these things to have him here. And I want you to meet Martha, our translator, who was on our trip also during Honduras. Well, Selvin, you can tell from everyone's applause that they already like you.
Bueno, ellos también me caen muy bien a mí, porque gracias a ellos muchas personas en todo el mundo están con una gran sonrisa.
Well, I like them as well also because it's thanks to people like you that there are so many smiles on so many children across the world.
I'm always curious because Selvin has lived in a rural village called Yamarangila for his entire life and has never left the country and maybe never left the countryside. And here he comes to the United States and to Chicago. So Selvin, what do you think of the United States and what do you think of Chicago? You've been sightseeing for the last several days. What are your impressions?
Bueno, Estados Unidos es un maravilloso país. Me ha encantado todo lo que tiene, sus riquezas, y en mi opinión es uno de los mejores países del mundo y en general también muchas personas lo creen.
Well, actually, the U.S. to me is a marvelous country. I have been very impressed by not only by its wealth, but by its people. It's such a rich people in its culture, and the people are actually what make it such a rich country.
Y bueno, Chicago, con todas sus maravillas, es una hermosa ciudad.
Chicago has got so many marvelous things. It's a beautiful city.
I want to ask him if he knows anything about deep dish pizza.
Bueno, sobre la pizza, no puedo decirle que está hecha, todo eso, los ingredientes, pero sí le diré una cosa, que está deliciosa.
I don't know what it's made of. I can't tell you what ingredients are there, but I can say one thing. It really is delicious.
That's right. Selvin, you've also visited, I think you visited the aquarium in Chicago this week. What was your favorite thing that you saw at the aquarium?
Me encantaron los delfines. El show de los delfines fue impresionante. Jamás había visto eso, ni imaginé que pudiera ver cosas así.
I love the dolphins. I saw the dolphin shows. I had never even imagined that something like that existed. I loved it.
That's good. Well, you know, Selvin, in the U.S. we have an expression, behind every great man there's a great woman. And, but behind every great young man there's usually a great mother. Maybe you'd like to introduce your mother to us.
Bueno, me voy a parar para presentar a mi mamá y también pido a mi mamá que si se puede parar, que está ubicada justo allá, en esa parte de ahí.
I'd like to stand to introduce my mother, and I'd like my mother to stand up as well. She's sitting right there. She's very short. You can't tell she's standing up.
Well, we need a little more information than that. Can you tell us a little bit about your mom and what kind of woman she is?
Mi mamá es una mujer increíble. Ella trabaja duro por nosotros. Bueno, sale a trabajar lejos para que nosotros podamos comer.
My mother's an incredible woman. She is a very hard-working woman. She travels 4 hours a day to go to her job so that she can feed her 2 children, myself and my brother.
Aunque pasamos muy poco tiempo juntos, ese poco tiempo lo utilizamos y lo aprovechamos al máximo.
And although we can't spend all that much time together precisely because of the time she spends traveling, we do take advantage of every moment we're together.
Y bueno, agradezco a Dios cada día porque tengo esa gran mamá.
And every day I'm thankful to God because I have that mother for myself.
I think they like you even more now. Okay, so Selvin, I think the most impressive thing I saw when I was in Honduras is you had that model of your village and your community, and we saw it in the video, and I think we have some photographs of that model. We couldn't bring the whole model to Chicago, but I wondered if you would share with our friends here a little bit about your community and how you look at your community and what are the changes that have happened over the last 10 years or so in your community through the work of World Vision.
Bueno, mi comunidad ha cambiado exageradamente gracias al apoyo de Visión Mundial.
My community has taken a big turn thanks to the support given by World Vision.
Porque se puede decir que no solo ha apoyado en la infraestructura,
It's helped not only by helping in build infrastructure,
sino también nos ha ayudado a nosotros los niños,
it's helped us as children,
a las personas adultas,
it's helped the adults,
para que nosotros sepamos lo que nosotros estamos haciendo.
it's helped us all to realize what it is we're doing and what we have to do in life.
Las causas y efectos de lo que nosotros los humanos hacemos en nuestras comunidades.
They've taught us the causes and effects of the things that we do in our community.
Nos está apoyando bastante, tanto en la iglesia como en lo general.
They provide a lot of general support, and they also provide a lot of support in the church,
Podemos decir en lo personal y en lo social.
and personally and socially.
Y bueno, creo que no solo yo estoy agradecido con Misión Mundial, sino que miles de personas en mi comunidad, en Honduras y en todos los países del mundo.
And it's not just me that's thankful to World Vision, it's also people, everybody in my community. It's the majority of people in Honduras and so many people throughout the world.
Bueno, antes de que llegara Visión Mundial a la comunidad, se veía como está en la maqueta. Si la podemos ver.
Before World Vision was there, I'd like to show you what it's like. He's got it on the monitor there. That was the general condition of the community before World Vision.
Antes las casas estaban hechas de paja.
There were thatched roofs, straw houses, cardboard houses.
Y bueno, las personas no vivían dignamente.
People did not live in very clean houses and very worthy houses.
Los animales andaban regados por doquier.
Domestic animals were actually spread out throughout the yards and sometimes inside the house.
Se podía decir que un perro por allá, un gato por acá.
There were dogs all over the place, cats inside the house.
Aunque aquí no hay ninguno, ¿verdad?
But we don't have any here, though.
Pero gracias a la ayuda de Visión Mundial,
But thanks to the support and teachings of World Vision,
la comunidad que estaba antes
the community that we had before
cambió.
has changed.
Ahora las casas habían mejorado. Bueno, esa es la antigua.
The houses had improved. These were the houses before the changes.
Las personas vivían ya mejor.
People started living better.
Aprendieron que los animales no deberían estar afuera o regados.
We learned that animals had to be kept in their own space. They shouldn't be roaming around the houses or the backyards.
Y lograron mejorar eso con la construcción de cercos.
And they were able to learn that because they received instruction on how to build rustic corrals and enclosures for the animals.
En cuanto a la higiene,
As for hygiene,
las personas antes hacían sus necesidades en cualquier parte.
people would actually use the yards or the nearby surroundings as latrines.
Iban a sacar agua de ríos.
They would get water from the river,
y bueno, esa agua estaba contaminada.
and because of the hygiene habits, that water was usually contaminated.
Ahora, gracias a Visión Mundial,
And now, thanks to World Vision,
se lograron construir pilas y letrinas.
we have built latrines and we have built water storage tanks.
Gracias a eso, las familias mejoraron sus hábitos de higiene.
And thanks to that, families improved their hygiene habits.
Pero se puede decir que solo con ir y construir algo no va a cambiar todo.
But it's true that just by building and building things, things don't usually change.
Entonces Visión Mundial dijo, hay que capacitar a estas personas para que sepan cómo hacer esto.
So World Vision trained us to make appropriate use of what we had.
Ahora, ¿de qué sirve tener una letrina si la van a tener de adorno?
It's, many people had latrines, and it was actually like some kind of a decoration for the backyard.
Y con Visión Mundial, ahora dijeron, esto es para esto, la pila es para tal, ya no nos toca ir hasta allá.
And they raised awareness, World Vision raised awareness in us that each of the structures had its purpose.
Bueno, y también en la iglesia, si podemos hablar de eso,
The church as well.
la iglesia antes también estaba hecha de bajareque.
The
o de
church
paja.
was actually a twig and mud structure.
Una iglesia que estaba hecha de ese material. ¿Cómo iba a resistir a una tormenta, un huracán?
And therefore, it could not resist. We're prone to hurricanes, we're prone to tropical storms, and it just couldn't withhold or resist any kind of a storm.
Entonces Visión Mundial nos apoyó. Dijo, vamos a construir la iglesia.
So World Vision helped us in building a church,
Y se hizo.
and we built the church.
Entonces creo que toda la comunidad,
So the entire community,
todo Yamaranguila,
all of Yamaranguila,
le está diciendo gracias a Visión Mundial.
is actually saying thank you to all of you and to World Vision.
Y bueno, no solo a Visión Mundial, sino a todos ustedes, que gracias a ustedes se logra todo eso.
World Vision and to all of you, because it's also thanks to people like you that these things are able to be done.
So, Selvin, this is a pretty fancy little vest you have on. This is a special thing because of the role you play in your community. Maybe you can stand up and show the back of your shirt and tell us about what you do as a monitor, a water and hygiene monitor in your community.
There is a blue water drop here in the back of his vest. He is a water and sanitation monitor.
Bueno, este es el chaleco de una de las metodologías de Visión Mundial llamada Casa y Escuela Saludable.
This vest is actually part of one of the methodologies in World Vision called Healthy House and Healthy School.
Y con este chaleco nosotros los niños nos identificamos.
Son oficiales.
Bueno, sí.
And with these vests, actually, this is sort of our official emblem that we are monitors for this methodology.
Porque nosotros los niños somos los agentes de cambio de nuestra comunidad.
Because we as the children are the ones who are fostering or encouraging the change in our communities. We're becoming agents of change.
Con este cuando nosotros tenemos este chaleco puesto, significa que vamos a ir a un hogar. Vamos a hablar con los dueños del hogar y vamos a hacer que ellos cambien su manera de pensar.
When we wear this vest, we actually do house visitations. We make house calls to the people. We see more or less how they live, and we try to give instructions and try to teach people how they should care for the water, how they should care for their hygiene within their homes.
Pero claro, ahorita que lo ando puesto no significa que voy a ir a un lugar por aquí y voy a hacer eso.
But not today, though. I'm not here under an official capacity.
That's good. You know, when we were down in Yamaranguila, Selvin told us that, you know, every month he goes from house to house and he does an audit, and he has a scorecard and a checklist, and he checks basic hygiene practices. Are the families pursuing basic hygiene practices? And if they fail, he gives them a failing grade, and he scolds them, and he tells them he'll be back in the next month and they better get their act together.
Bueno, eso es cierto. Y
True.
sí, y sí, es casi como un examen que, bueno, si se quedan, bueno, a regañarlos, a decirles que mejoren, y si están bien, decirles que sigan así.
It's true. It's like a test, and if they flunk, I scold them, and I tell them I'll come back next month to see if they've improved. A child to adults.
Bueno, con eso de visión mundial nosotros calificamos las calidades de higiene de las familias.
This is a way to raise awareness in the family so that they can improve the quality of their personal hygiene habits and the hygiene habits within the household.
Las calificamos en cuatro categorías, perdón,
We qualify them in 4 categories:
las cuales son higiene personal,
personal hygiene,
higiene del hogar,
household hygiene,
agua para tomar
drinking water,
y uso y mantenimiento de la letrina.
and use and maintenance of the latrine.
En higiene personal, nosotros calificamos si esas personas, digamos, se lavan las manos antes de comer, si tienen tapados los alimentos, o si se bañan, o siquiera si tienen un lugar para bañarse, porque algunos pueden engañar.
Our personal hygiene, we grade them if they wash their hands, if whatever food they have on top of the table or near the stove is covered, if they take showers, because sometimes they'll fool you. They'll tell you they've taken a shower, but they really have not.
En higiene del hogar,
And in household hygiene,
nosotros calificamos cómo tienen sus hogares.
we score the condition of the household,
Si tienen al perro, al gato en la cocina o dentro de la casa,
see if there's a cat or a dog inside the house or inside the kitchen,
si tiene si la casa está sucia, o sea, no están, tiene polvo o tiene basura dentro de ella.
if there's any garbage or trash inside the house, or if it's dusty, or if the floor is dirty.
Y en cuanto a agua para tomar,
And for drinking water,
nosotros vamos y vemos si el agua que ellos tienen es potable, si ellos lo tienen recipientes para agua, envases y los tienen tapados.
to see if the drinking water that they have, if it's in adequate containers and if the containers are covered or not.
Verificamos que ellos cuiden el agua que consumen.
We verify that they are careful about the water they use for personal consumption.
Y bueno, lo último que es el uso y mantenimiento de la letrina,
And as for use and maintenance of the latrine,
verificamos si están teniendo un uso, si están utilizando la letrina.
we verify to see if the latrine is being used. Tricky.
Y también verificamos si la letrina está limpia.
We verify to see if it's clean.
Si los papeles, si botan los papeles en determinado lugar.
If the toilet paper is in an appropriate container.
Y otra cosa muy importante que también es que verificar que no metan ni al perro ni al gato ahí.
And also to make sure that the dogs or the cats have no access to the latrine.
Bueno, creo esos son los 4 temas que utilizamos en Casa y Escuela Saludable.
Those are the 4 categories we score in Healthy House and School.
Well, thank you. And I think some of you are squirming because your houses wouldn't pass Selvin's test. Mind you, cat lovers, I know you're out there. Okay, Selvin, very impressive. Now, you've said that maybe your dream is to someday be a doctor, but I kind of think you have a career maybe in politics. And I want you to tell everyone, if you were running to be mayor of Yamarangila, what would your campaign speech be? What would you say to get people to vote for you?
Bueno, si fuera mi discurso sería que decirles, les prometo muchas cosas. Les prometo que voy a tratar de que Yamarangila cambie.
Well, I think my speech would be that I would tell people that I will promise them a lot of things, but mostly that I hope that Yamarangila will change.
Pero no les prometo que les voy a construir casas, que voy a hacer, les voy a dar más dinero porque no se lo voy a dar.
But I'm not going to promise to build them houses. I'm not going to promise to give them more money because I'm not going to give them any more money.
No les prometo que voy a construir un estadio, no les prometo que voy a construir un edificio gigante.
I'm not going to promise that I'm going to build them a great big soccer court or a big building.
Porque gastaría todo el dinero y ¿qué tendríamos para Yamananguila?
Because that would spend all of the money and then I would have nothing left over to do any kind of work.
Y lo peor es que luego vendrían todas las solicitudes.
Yeah, and I would spend the money on a soccer court or a big building and people would still wind up asking for other things.
Les prometo ayudarles en las comunidades. Si es posible, organizar a los comités, prestar algún centro y poner en alto el nombre de Yamananguila.
I would probably start by forming a lot of committees, give each one of them a specific work to do so that the name of Yamananguila will have a very good reputation within the country.
Prometo que trataré de hacer que Yamananguila prospere.
And I would promise to do my best so that Yamananguila will prosper.
Y creo que ese sería mi discurso.
I think that would be my speech.
Okay, now we're going to take a vote. If you would vote for Selvin, raise your hands. Congratulations, you are the new mayor of Yamananguila. Okay, just last question. Is there anything else you'd like to say while you have the opportunity to speak to these people?
Bueno, agradezco que me hayan dado la oportunidad de venir aquí a Chicago.
I'm very grateful for the opportunity of being able to have come here to Chicago.
Vi cosas que nunca creí que podían existir.
I saw things that I never could have dreamt that existed.
Y bueno, comí una pizza deliciosa y una
I had
hamburguesa.
a delicious pizza.
Y bueno, una hamburguesa gigante con queso y bacon.
And for the first time, he had a giant hamburger, a cheeseburger with bacon. He had never eaten bacon before.
Y puedo decir que las mejores hamburguesas definitivamente están en Estados Unidos.
And I can say that the best hamburgers ever are here from the USA.
Y bueno, para que nos animemos un poco más, se me ocurre una cosa. ¿Qué tal hacer una representación de lo que pasa desde que ustedes donan algo hasta que llega a los niños? Entonces, si puedo tener 5 voluntarios, por favor.
And I would like to actually do a little sketch, but I need 5 volunteers for this.
Oh. 5 volunteers, you heard them. This is unplanned. This is, all right. Come on, we need a few volunteers. Okay. You want them up here or down there?
Abajo, sí. Bueno, aquí están
Notice
los 5.
I'm not volunteering.
Ahora, usted va a ser una donante, aunque creo que ya lo es.
You're a donor.
Usted va a representar a Visión Mundial Estados Unidos.
You represent World Vision US.
Usted va a representar a Visión Mundial Honduras.
You represent World Vision Honduras.
Usted va a representar a un programa de desarrollo de área o PDA.
You represent an ADP.
Y usted va a representar a un niño, el que va a recibir el regalo.
And you represent a child who's going to receive a gift.
Aunque es una niña.
A girl.
Bueno, podemos decir esto. El donante
The
le
donor
da lo que le va a mandar al niño a Visión Mundial Estados Unidos.
gives to World Vision US what he's going to send to the child.
Visión Mundial Estados Unidos se lo da a Visión Mundial Honduras.
World Vision gives it to World Vision US gives it to World Vision Honduras.
Visión Mundial Honduras se lo da a el PDA.
World Vision Honduras passes it over to the ADP.
Y el PDA se lo da al niño, el cual o la niña, la cual lo recibe muy contenta y hasta, si es posible, saltando.
And the little girl from the ADP is extremely happy to receive the gift.
Very good. Okay. Well, I think is anybody worried about the future of Yamarangila, Honduras anymore? You know, I can say this because my son is not here tonight, but we've raised 5 children. Never did we have a 12-year-old as capable, as confident, as articulate as this, and some of them are now 30 and are not as competent and capable as this. But this is our little secret. Our little secret. So let's give Selvin a big hand, and thank you so much for coming. Bless you, little guy. All right. Thank you, Martha. Martha.